In 1965, a man walked onto a stage in Stockholm to accept the Nobel Prize in Physics. Journalists expected someone serious, buttoned up, academic. Instead, they got a guy who played bongo drums, cracked safes as a hobby, and once said, "I would rather have questions that can't be answered than answers that can't be questioned." His name was Richard Feynman, and behind all the chaos, he had one obsession: understanding things so deeply that he could explain them to anyone. That obsession became a four-step method, and today it's quietly one of the most powerful learning techniques ever documented, used by top med students, engineers, and self-taught coders worldwide. And if you're someone who's ever walked out of an exam thinking, "I studied so hard, why did I blank?" the next four steps are going to change everything about how you learn. Don't close this video. Step 1. Choose a concept and write it down. Pick one thing you need to understand, not a whole chapter, one concept. Write the name of it at the top of a blank page, like you're starting a lesson plan. This sounds almost too simple, but that's the point. Most of us try to learn everything at once, end up overwhelmed, and retain almost nothing. Your brain isn't a hard drive. It needs focus to actually encode information. So, one page, one concept. That's your starting point. Now here's where it gets interesting, because step 2 is where most people realize they don't know nearly as much as they thought they did. Step 2. Explain it like you're teaching a 12-year-old. This is the core of the whole method. Write out everything you know about that concept, but pretend you're explaining it to someone who has zero background knowledge. No jargon, no copy-pasting textbook language, plain words. And when you hit a moment where you can't explain something simply, that's not a failure, that's gold. That's the exact gap in your understanding you need to fix. Albert Einstein once said, "If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough." That's basically the Feynman technique in one sentence. This step exposes what you actually know versus what you think you know, and trust me, there's usually a difference. Go back to your source material for the gaps, fill them in, then try again. But here's the part most people skip, and it's probably the most powerful step of all. Step 3. Identify the gaps and go back to the source. Every time you get stuck in step 2, you've found a gap. Circle it, note it. Then, and this is important, go back to your textbook, lecture, or notes specifically for those gaps. Not the whole chapter, just the parts that tripped you up. This is called targeted retrieval, and research backs it hard. A 2021 study in Nature Human Behavior found that students who actively identified their own knowledge gaps and then revisited source material showed up to 40% better retention compared to passive restudy. You're not studying randomly anymore, you're surgically fixing weak points. Once the gaps are filled, it's time for the final step, and honestly, this one's the most satisfying. Step 4. Simplify and use analogies. Now rewrite your explanation, but this time make it even simpler. Use analogies, use comparisons to everyday life. For example, if you're studying how neurons fire, you might say, "It's like a domino effect. One falls and it triggers a chain reaction down the line." Analogies force your brain to make connections between new and existing knowledge, and that's exactly how deep learning happens. Research on what's called the protégé effect, studying as if you're about to teach someone, shows that this mindset alone improves comprehension and long-term recall significantly. When you can explain something simply with your own analogies in your own words, you own that knowledge. No exam can take it from you. So, to recap, step 1, write down the concept. Step 2, explain it like you're teaching a kid. Step 3, find the gaps, go back to the source. Step 4, simplify again, use analogies. That's it, 4 steps, no highlighter required. The Feynman technique won't make studying feel like a party, let's keep it real, but it will make every hour you study actually count. Try it tonight. Pick one concept, one page, see what happens. And if you want to go deeper on studying smarter, not harder, I've got more coming. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.